Hi guys, hello, meet everybody. It's MicheleMarieDalene, and today, of course, is the 14th. Wednesday, it starts the 10th. The 14th is coming up though in a few days, and of course, that will be when we'll be doing our other live streaming and stuff. And today's video, we're going to be covering mostly chats, but also I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm trying to create as a radio serial and the issues I'm having with coming up with materials and coming up with a good plot that's going to be plausible. When you're trying to create historical fiction, you sometimes come up with things that may not always necessarily work for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and switch these questions on now and get a nice picture of me. Hi, guys. You can see my skin is back to normal. All right, so let's get this chat on right now. I'm the only one on here. I made the screen really huge, so the problem is when I do that is it has a notorious habit of actually getting blink happy. But that's just the nature of the thing, so we're not going to be taking too many Google Hangouts on air calls tonight, but we are, of course, going to be taking phone calls. So the reason we're not going to be taking Google Hangout on air calls, or at least not that many, is the last time we did that, we got into a problem with some bad people taking advantage of when I post a link and posting really inappropriate content that was almost impossible to remove, and I don't want to have to go through that again, okay? So now we are actually in the chat comments. I'm going to switch over to that screen too so I can see it and respond to you, and let people know that we are now on the air, and the phone number is 860. Go grab a seat. There's one right there. Sue's here for a little while anyway. She's kind of...
If I get a phone call or whatever, I probably will have to
What's
leave.
that?
I said, I'm here for a little bit. If I get a phone call or whatever, I may have to leave.
Yeah.
But I can at least say hello.
Right. Well, why don't you just...
Where do you want me to sit? Where would be better?
Just put a chair over here where the microphone is so that... All right. So
I can put that on.
they can't even see you.
Right, that's good.
Oh, anyway, just put your ashtray right there and then just stick a little closer to the microphone or make it anyway towards you more so okay, we can hear you better. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so as you can hear, Sue is here right now for a little while, and how are you doing right now?
I'm good. I just want people to know because I heard some of your live streams and they keep saying, well, Sherry's not real and Rhonda's not real. And
well, I never said Sherry's not real.
Well, no, some people have called and, they don't believe that there's people here that are actually here. So here's proof. She does have a neighbor, a friend named Sue, and here I am.
Well, they certainly knew you were here last time, but although you were off camera, and I'm just posting the phone number for Buildable Studio, so that way we can get phone calls. And I do have the other amplifier on, so that we can hear us, as you can hear.
Yep.
And that way we can hear the questions if there's any questions. I hope people will call in today because this would be the first time we've done a live stream for a while, guys, and
so are we talking about anything specific today, or?
Well, we were going to discuss, I'm trying to find the right screen size that's not going to make the screen too blink happy. That's one thing we've been having problems with, is the screen gets too blink happy in the video, and the audience really finds this disconcerting, and I'm going to see if I can fix this.
Has anyone called in yet with any questions? Or
not yet. No, we just started.
Yeah, it's only been a few minutes.
Yeah, just started it. So I'm going to lower the bandwidth a bit to see if the computer can keep up. So you guys will probably notice that the questions on the screen will seem a little fuzzier.
But we're working on it.
But that's because I want to make sure they can be able to read the question. Because if I said it too fast, it blinks like crazy.
It just goes all squirrely.
No, it really blinks like crazy. Turn it to max. Max. Yeah. See if that helps any. Okay, so turn it back to maximum. So let's see if this helps. At least if it blinks, it's going to blink faster. You think? Yeah, I think. Ha ha ha! Ain't that fun? Okay.
You're starting off with a joke already.
Clearly, if you guys have epilepsy, you may definitely not enjoy the blinky screen, and I can't help that. That's just the nature of this Mac, this ancient machine, this dinosaur from 2000 and it's from 2006, I think.
Yeah, it's a little on the older side.
Yeah. Like everybody else, when you start to you start to get kind of cranky and old, and you don't work as well as you used to.
You know what old does to things and people, and
yeah. Okay, so anyway, I just tried to make the screen a little bit better. So now, technically, for iPhone users, if you want to see the questions completely, you can actually just flip the phone in portrait mode after you maximize the screen, and it should be able to be displayed on your phone. There you go. That's not like an idea. Yep. Okay, sure. Then we can see the questions here too at the same time.
I'm glad you know what you're doing, because I'd have everything all screwed up.
Well,
I am not computer or tech savvy. Nope.
Lots of practice.
Yeah, I would imagine. How long have you been doing this?
You mean the live streams?
Well, just like with the whole computer thing and the whole.
I started with computers in 1977.
Holy.
My generation was one of the first generations to get into the computer thing, and so that's what I've been doing since 1977. Of course, at that time, I was just a young kid. I didn't really know or anything about computers. Computers are still kind of a fascinating thing.
It's constantly changing.
Well, back then, and if you were watching the cartoons from the 60s and the 70s, you would have seen that people were always thinking these computers were these incredible magic boxes that could do anything you could think of.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Computers are extremely boring. They're actually pretty stupid. But now we got these new androids, like we got Sandy Help, how is the Queen of Winterville? Well, that's one of the topics for tonight is the radio serial, Sandy. I'm hoping that we're going to have a few more people join us in chat. And so I will still do what I usually do. I will read your questions instead of typing unless I have to. I'll type if I have to. The problem I'm having is I wanted to make it basically an alternative timeline fiction. And to be realistic in the time frame I was thinking about having where Winterville, which would be one of the concepts was Litchfield County, seceding from Connecticut right after 1993 when Lil Weicker passed his income tax.
Wow.
That would give them about 25 years since at that point when they became their own sovereign nation. It's a monarchy. And then I realized if I include Litchfield County, which includes Litchfield, Torrington, Winsted, Goshen, Harwinton, etc., etc. It's just a huge area. Well, thank you very much. By the way, El Morel, could you please ask your friends to come join us in chat today? We're really looking forward to having a positive chat. And my guest is in studio, and that's Sue. If you want to say hi to Sue, she's right here. And I put the microphone towards you because make sure they can hear you because it's loud enough. Trust me, the meter says so.
It says so.
Yeah, the meter says so. And so Sandy, Esmeralda, and Sandy, the questions I'd like to ask you is, I'm still working on the story. At this current plot is the introduction to based on a young man and his family that moved from Willimantic to Winterville, which is formerly Winsted. I had to put the town in somewhere. Why not put the town in I know the best? Because if you remember anything what would happen with the Cinderella thing where the comptroller of the town basically robbed the town blind, he's in prison now. The town of Winston almost went into receivership because the money was gone.
Yep.
He embezzled it all. So at that point, we go on that part of the story instead of the idea of the town seating, or we can even combine that in with the town after the secession, where the town of Winston decided that they could not afford to keep running the town anymore. And so, of course, I seized the town and turned it into a micronation. But then again, that left me a hole with the problem with the whole Litchfield County part, because what about the rest of Litchfield County?
Yep.
I mean, Torrington would still remain its own republic. Goshen would probably be two. It probably wouldn't be two monarchies. But if Winterville was part of the Queendom of Snow, well, the problem is the Queendom of Snow would also originally one of the plot ideas was going to be a population of 400,000 people. Well, there's not 400,000 people in Litchfield County.
No.
It would be about 400,000 if I took the state of Connecticut and split it in twain. But the problem with that is, in reality, is such a large community would be enormous. There'd be way too much for in reality any monarch to rule. I suppose Henry VIII could have told you the same thing. Is that you got your duchies, you got your lordships, and things like that. But even then, if it was just to be a micronation, say a one ruler, like one town, say Winston by itself was a mill town. And it would technically be very much completely sustainable as a micronation. For those of you who don't know what a micronation is a country that's usually a small little country that's not yet usually a small territory. And they can become real countries, by the way. There's actually real micronations that are actually quite eligible to receive recognition by the United Nations. So I think Liberia, Liberia. There's another one that's right between Croatia and Serbia. That's
Libya.
No, not Libya. But another real.
Now you threw me all off.
Well, I can look it up. But the point is, no, I have not. I haven't created the cabinet yet because I'm not sure if I want to just pick total, strangers, or if I want to decide to have a parliament. I still kind of think a parliamentary system would be better, because in reality, when you start becoming the queen and rule by fiat, there's always the chance that you're going to just do something stupid. Especially if you're going to have to deal with the whole Litchfield County as your queendom. The last thing you want to be done is, since in Torrington still would have a mayor, Goshen still has a board of selectmen, Harwinton does too. So the issue would be is to keep everybody kind of happy. So you can still have them as having councils, keeping their own independent governors. I mean, but then what would the queen really be? She'd be like the governor. Right. She'd be like the governor of Litchfield County. But the idea of absolute rule does sound exciting, but in reality, it kicks in. It's like, in real life, I don't think I would have enough antidepressants to deal with it.
There ain't enough in the world.
Hello, Joey. How are you doing? So tonight we're going to also cover a few other things too. Let's start with the things. What would you guys like to see? I haven't even gotten the story written yet. I'm still working on it. So swearing ins could be done, but like now, the plot is taking me some thoughts. How complicated do I want to make it? Now, anyway, we want to talk about the real micronations for a second. So let me look this up. I want to explain what this is. Yes, they can really become a real country, by the way. I'm going to be right there. Okay, Sue just had to run over her house real quick. So let me go to pull some notes up on micronations here. Okay, and I want to show you a real potential real micronation. I'm gonna find this. Here it is. Here we go. Let me get the page first, and then we will go to that. Okay. Okay. So let me just quickly switch this over so we can see the screen. We can all look at this together. Where is it? Yep. I'm gonna switch this out. Okay. So I'm gonna switch this to my screen so I can show you something. So, hang on, guys. This could get me a bumpy ride. Oh, maybe not that bumpy, but bumpy. Yeah. Because you know what, this one's computer. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the actual Google page here. Okay. Hit share. Present to everyone. Let's get this thing. Now, for those of you who are, as I said, suffer from epilepsy, this blink happy stuff is not really much I can do about it. So anyway, here we're in Google right now. We're going to type it in together. I'm going to show you some a quick definition of what this is. What is a micronation? All right, so now we can see what this is. And micronation, a Wikipedia. Okay, here we go. This could take a while, guys. Be patient. A micronation, sometimes referred to a model country or new country project, is an entity that claims to be independent of a nation state, but is not yet recognized by world governments or major international organizations. Micronations are distinguished from imaginary countries and from other kinds of social groups such as eco-villages, campuses, tribes, clans, sects, and residential community associations by expressing a formal and persistent, even if unrecognized, claim of sovereignty over some physical territory. Micronations are also distinct from secession movements. Micronations activities are almost always trivial enough to be ignored rather than challenged by the established nations whose territory they claim. Exception to that, it's just not mentioned, well, it probably is Sealand. Sealand was created in 1967, as you can see a picture of it there, on an old World War II fort. Right there, you can see it on the picture there.
That's cool.
Several times the Sealand had run into problem with the British government because it's outside of the territorial waters. It was in international waters and until recently. They then tried to expand the international waters to include Sealand, put Sealand back under British jurisdiction, which resulted in some very interesting things in the process. However, one of the things is that the United Kingdom has decided to leave Sealand alone because it's really not worth making a big deal over a platform that's about the size of 2 tennis courts. Now, I'm going to go to a list of nations and list of micronations. Okay, so one of the most interesting ones is Principality Republic of Rhode Island. That was another one that went down in flames, unfortunately. Republic of Minerva was annexed, believe it or not, by the real country that was right by it. Was succeeded in building a small man-made island on the Minerva Reef south of Fiji in 1972 before being invaded by the troops in Tonga, who annexed it and then bulldozed it. See, your real countries, if they really don't like you, can actually destroy you.
Right. Yeah.
There's some very interesting micronations out there. There was one here. It is the Free Republic of Liberland, founded in 2015, claiming the small parcel of land between Croatia and Serbia called Siga. It shares a land border with Croatia and has its eastern border on the Danube River. Because Croatia-Serbia border disputes, some land is claimed by both countries and other parcels are claimed by none. It has established a formal relationship with Somaliland as well as other partially recognized and unrecognized states. In other words, it's becoming a real country. It's in the process.
Yeah.
Sealand is kind of in the same working as well to become a real country.
Wow.
One of the most interesting ones of all is a micronation because it's. I think the queen is very pretty. It's actually run by a family. It's called. Let's see if I can spell this right. R-U-R-I. There we go. Because it's already made complete. This is a micronation. They have a position on Facebook. This is their welcome page here for Mauritania. They're in the Smoky Mountain region of Georgia, believe it or not, and they can declare themselves a monarchy. As it says here, welcome. We hope that you will explore our website and enjoy your visit. Here you'll find a little of the picturesque beauty that is retaining a beautiful mountains, sparkling rivers, forests of oak and black walnut, quaint villages, and ancient castles await you. It's kind of based on a real micronation, based on a book originally. And the lady that runs it is a very nice lady. She's she's older. But she's very pretty. Unfortunately, her husband, who was the king, had passed away. So unfortunately, she kind of took over the operation on her own, or keeping this thing going. See, micronations, when they start out, don't really always stay out little pet projects. They become family affairs, literally family affairs. So this is I'm thinking about contacting the queen and asking her if she'd like to be on my live stream sometime. I haven't contacted her yet, but I am in process of trying to negotiate with whoever I need to do to get that. So let me switch back over to the chat so I can read your comments at the same time.
I was just going to ask you, when you were reading that about the place that starts with the R, you can't see their questions if they pop up?
No, it doesn't work that way.
You have to go back to...
I have to go back to the chat, but I share the chat with the people too so they can see it. Because if I switch it to myself, I can see them without showing them on here.
Yeah.
But I like to show them on the screen so I can see them. And they can say, last time about flu C. Okay. And she says, I'm good, good luck. Okay, thank you. Let's start about flu C's and colloidal silver. Look it up. I don't really know much about colloidal silver. I know that some say it should not be taken internally. Was Ukraine a micronation? No, Ukraine itself was a real country. It was annexed by Russia when the Soviet Union was created, and when they went through and they did the secession, they got their sovereignty back. And it's recognized by the United Nations. So therefore, Ukraine does not meet the requirements as a micronation.
Okay, now, with that being said, how do you know this stuff?
Excuse me?
How do you know, like, about the Ukraine and all that? Where did you learn all that from?
Yep. I had friends from Ukraine, plus I have friends in other places that have shared stories with me. And
wow.
So I keep myself knowledgeable.
And you obviously listen. When somebody tells you a story, you're listening because you remember this stuff.
Right. Well, stories to me are always important because I love stories. And word is in the street that Ron and Dory are trying to... Okay, now he's playing the action into the game. Well, we haven't actually created the story yet, but And interesting about the Dory part of it is that I think Dory could actually become a protagonist.
Protagonist.
Or antagonist. Whereas Rhonda would be a trusted, friend, maybe not so much in the political power, but rather just more of a friend. You kind of acts like, somebody you talk to, like we're doing right now.
Right.
But she actually wouldn't be sworn in as an advisor. By the way, speaking of real news, did you hear that Oprah Winfrey wanted to try to run as a presidential candidate in 2000?
In politics, yes, I did.
I don't think that would go well.
No.
Because she's buddy with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, she's very buddy with him.
So he stuck his tongue in her ear.
How do you know?
You're gonna I saw pictures of it. Are you gonna go ahead and clean the ear out with rubbing alcohol when you're done? He's dirty. He's a bad person. He's nasty. Yeah, absolutely. He's nasty. Nobody likes him. I'm gonna switch this microphone around because it keeps banging to my headset. But anyway, if you guys would like to call the phone number, it's open. 860-738-8463 is the number. Again, that's 860-738-8463 is the number to call the studio. And if you want to ask us questions on the phone, you can do so. Please understand we only have one phone line, so it means that if the phone is in use, please be patient.
Or call back.
Well, be careful, guys, because I don't know how Sue feels about role playing. Right now, one of the people is kind of role playing right now. So the problem is the way he's writing this, you might actually unintentionally get offended. So,
what is the question?
He's more of a statement. He said, "The Queen is quite a learned." The Queen is quite learned peasant, so it would do well to hold thy tongue amongst thy grace. It's Old English or Middle English.
Well, I don't even know what that means, but
basically means is that the Queen knows better than you, and you're just basically
I'm just a little peasant.
Yeah, you're just an everyday person.
Okay, such is life. So be it.
Well. Yeah, you're more like you sitting talking to Vladimir Putin, and you being just a standard Russian person. Even though he's just the president of the Soviet Union, the Soviet Republic, he was originally part of the KGB of the old Russian communist days of the Soviet Union. He has, unfortunately, a love-hate relationship among his people, but the other candidates that have tried to run against him just didn't really have the kind of support. And that's why he's been voted in as president for year after year after year, because he's got a good support of those who are in the know. But I want to get back to that issue with the other matters at hand, such as the Oprah Winfrey and the Harvey Weinstein thing. I think that if the Democrats are smart, they should try to find a person amongst their own that meets the criterion similar to that of which Donald Trump ran under, which is A, business person.
Yeah.
B, a person who can finance their own campaign. C, a person with morals and dignity. Okay? Now, that's the reason why the deep state hates Donald Trump. It's because he's everything that they're not. One, he has a moral obligation. He feels strongly that he has to live by the Constitution and uphold the constitutional authority. Not only because that's the oath of his office, but because he really is very much believes in this deep down in his heart that what our founding fathers created was important. Actually, I haven't seen too many of them around. He's talking about the trolls that were around. I haven't seen too many trolls lately.
No, we try not to deal with the trolls.
And I'm glad to say at least that based on the number of dislikes that are slowly disappearing, I would say is that majority of the people that originally tried to stir up all the hornet's nest of horrible allegations, which are not based on facts, those people have probably decided it wasn't worth it.
Right.
Because first of all, it's really crushing to the spirit of, my spirit, Lumi's spirit. To have to go through this every month, every week, every day even, trying to see our work get disrespected and discredited. And we started, we're going to work on this radio serial, and I really want to do it. But one of my biggest problems is when people with Asperger's is when we do something, we get wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Too easily. And that's probably, it's going to be the one thing that is going to probably make a problem for me, is I can get wrapped up in stuff too much.
So is that like when you get, like, say on a topic or something, then you get, like, carried away with it? Is that what it means?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you need, like, do you realize it? Like, I don't know. How would I
sometimes realize it,
like
but
right away,
it's like a good movie or something. You just don't want to tear yourself away from the project.
Right. Okay.
But then when of course, as an adult, there are real world things that have to deal with, like cleaning the house and eating and sleeping and excreting. Yeah. So But anyway, so the Micronation, the Queen of Ruritania, is an older lady. And she's very, very, very pretty. And we got a phone call. Hold on a minute. Go ahead, call. You're on the air.
Long live thy grace.
How are you doing?
Aye, I'm doing well, my lady. How's thine grace on this fine day?
Oh, what's your name?
I am the Hound.
Okay. So,
do you have a question?
Do you have a question?
No, I would not question thine queen. Long live thy queen.
Are you just calling to say hello?
Well, right now I'm actually technically the North American Snow Queen, which covers North America and Southwest Greenland, which includes Canada and United States and Southwest Greenland. But that wouldn't be the same queen. That'd be, for the story, it would be more like a queen of Litchfield County here in Connecticut. And which makes it interesting because Litchfield County is physically very small. In reality,
that was the finest speech ever given by a monarch in history.
I don't know if my speech would be that fine, considering I could be pretty good speeches when I'm focusing on one.
God save thy queen.
What's that?
God save thy queen.
God save the queen. And of course, thank you. And
may the peasants be crushed.
Actually, who I'd like to really see.
What's wrong with the peasants?
I'd like to see really get crushed is the Governor Daniel P. Malloy of Connecticut. I'd like to see him defeated.
We shall declare war on the governor.
Technically, that's all you really need to do to create a micronation in real life. Is if you wanted to, seize or claim control. Like I could say, Winston's mine, and it would meet the requirement of a micronation. But that also means that I'd have to create laws, rules, and other things. And that's true for the story.
Thine queen is a war strategy genius.
Well, I'm not exactly a war strategy genius by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm a thinker. And
long live the queen.
Well, thank you. And of course, I hope that more people will continue to subscribe to my channel as well. So where are you calling from anyway? What town?
Winterville.
Winterville. Okay.
Is he in Litchfield?
Well, Winterville is the name of the town of my story. It's going to be called Winterville. That'd be kind of interesting.
Long live thy queen.
Long live thy peasants.
And thank you very much.
Nay, may their field be sown with salt.
And this is, so what's your first name?
The Hound.
What is it?
The Hound.
The Hound.
The Hound.
What is it, you hound?
I heard him. Well, the thing is the Hound is we only have one phone line, so we got to be able to keep the conversations relatively short so that more people can call in. And
but it was very interesting talking to you.
Well, it was really interesting talking to you, and I hope to see you on the YouTube chats.
Thanks, thine queen. I shall banish myself with grace.
Thank you. You have a nice day now, okay? Okay, 860-738-8463 is the number. And tonight we are kind of freeform. Mostly we're talking about the novel and or the radio serial idea, which is going to be working. We also talk about real micronations, such as Liberland and Sealand, Rose Island, too, which I don't really know much about it. Or, of course, the micronation of Minerva. Rose Island and Minerva were decimated by the real countries that they had annexed property of. Rose Island was built outside on an artificial platform similar to Sealand in 1967. In 1972, the Italian government bulldozed it and blew it up.
Blew it up.
Because they didn't tolerate Rose Island or being there. So my biggest thing in reality is yeah, I could easily use this part of the story saying that I've kind of want to base it upon the concept of what happened with Centrella and Winstead, and as well as what happened with after Lowell P. Weicker had created the Connecticut income tax in 1993. Because that really angered a lot of people in the real world. When that income tax was created, because Connecticut for years was fiercely, adamantly against the income tax. Today, the income tax makes the state of Connecticut a huge chunk of change.
Yeah, they do.
But
my God,
because we have a Democratic governor who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, guess where it all goes?
Yeah.
It goes to illegal immigrants. And that the Native American the Native Americans includes the Massachusetts and the Mohegans. They're doing quite well, but and there's something that's kind of interesting too. They're not a micronation, but they're an Indian nation, and they are of course respected as a nation within the state of Connecticut. Of course, the Massachusetts also, of course, have their Indian reservation also covers parts of Rhode Island as well.
Now, my question is what doesn't go to the immigrants, to the illegal immigrants?
It's just
it seems like they get everything. They get the state support.
A single illegal immigrant
jobs
makes about $3,000 a month in state subsidies. Whereas a majority of my friends who are disabled are only get about $760.
Yeah. Now, how does that sound? Fair?
It's not fair.
Equal or even right?
It's not fair.
It's definitely not right.
And so the governor fought so hard against the state legislature because he wanted things done way. The Republicans in the state legislature said he was sick in the head and thought he was crazy. I still think he's sick in the head and crazy.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is look, first of all, he got it so bad that General Electric left Fairfield, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay. Before that, we're also losing a pharmaceutical company. And not only that, but we lost UPS, which used to have the headquarters in Connecticut a couple of years ago. They left because it was too expensive with the corporate taxes. Connecticut, Governor Daniel P. Malloy is too out of touch to realize that if you don't lower the corporate taxes, especially now with the new tax reform and job bill that was passed by the Republicans in the United States Congress is that the people companies are going to go where they can get better competing rates from different states.
Exactly.
Kind of like a lending tree allows you to when banks compete, you win. Yeah, well, it's the same deal. If state A is offering a corporate tax of say 10%, and state B is offering a corporate tax of 30%, you can figure out where people are going to go. If the conditions are other conditions such as the environment, the weather and stuff is appropriate for the company, they're going to go to state A because state A is cheaper. But right now, one of the things. So, really does. But the problem is Connecticut also is thinking about doing another thing. Another state with the letter C has done. They want to turn Connecticut into a sanctuary state. California's already declared itself a sanctuary state. Mm-hmm. California is in the red and bleeding red bad, just as Connecticut is. In fact, we're worse off than California right now.
And California is a hot mess. Excuse me. California is a hot mess.
And so, a hot mess? Literally. Quite smoldering. Yes. They still have the forest fire. The Thomas fire is still going. It is 98% contained, but it is still going. Ugh. And it has...
That poor state.
It has really, literally been cleaned. A lot of structures were damaged in the Thomas fire. A lot of homeless people, which were already a problem for San Francisco and Los Angeles. There, and because what the problem was, it's just like Connecticut. The rents in Los Angeles and California are outrageous.
Yeah, and people are now losing their homes. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their lives
because the state's not making themselves competitive where companies want to come into California. And it's like Connecticut and California, which are both democratically controlled, can't seem to learn that. You don't do that.
No, it's ridiculous.
You know, you really can't do that right now.
I do have to go.
Let's see. Anything else for questions here? No, not yet.
I have to excuse myself and go use the ladies' room.
But one of the things I will say is
I will be right back. I have to use
okay, so you'll be right back?
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely. So one of the things I also want to cover is what's going on with the economy because of the deep freeze. We have seen that the ocean had frozen near Cape Cod. You could actually literally walk on the water, which was ice, the salt water. And 90% at the worst part of the deep freeze covered the United States. It also affected Asia and parts of Europe as well. And that's going to send the prices of groceries. It already is sending the prices of groceries through the roof. So it's not like it's going to get any better if people don't start planning ahead. For the fact is that our crops are failing worldwide. Not just in the United States, not just in the wheat, during the wheat tour in Kansas, the damage done to the hardwoods of wheat last March. This stuff is destroying our ability to feed and clothe ourselves. During the deep freeze, there was a shortage of natural gas and a shortage of heating oil. So, and that was another issue. And of course, people kept looking to the states to bail them out. Connecticut certainly was under the inundation of people who were freezing and protesting and saying, hey, hey, hey. But the state of Connecticut couldn't give anything. Well, if you want to see Michelle's real coronation she did in 2011 as the North American Snow Queen, yeah, that is real. That is already on YouTube here. December 21st, 2011. You can watch that. But for the book, the Queen already exists in power. So I'm thinking is that not so much an issue of, but maybe we're our young character, Mark Sanchez. He's a Hispanic young man. He's his family came originally from Puerto Rico. Went to Willimantic, originally worked for American Thread Mills Hills. He was born here. His mother was pure Puerto Rican. And when thread mill basically went down, the American thread went down the shitter, his family decided to go where there was jobs, and Retrotech in Winterville was hiring electronics assemblers to put electronic radios together and things like that. In other words, Retrotech makes electronics the way they should be made, with real parts, quality workmanship. Unlike, say, a plastic cross-sleeve turntable, which is a piece of crap. And yes, it is, guys. Okay, it'll work. A cross-sleeve turntable may work, but Retrotech doesn't make them out of plastic. At least not as the main structure. The thing will be made using quality electronics made by American workers, or in this case, by workers from Winterville. And so his father got a visa to come in, a working visa, because he would be working for Retrotech, which is sponsoring his family to come to Winterville. So that's where the story is going to be, from a young man's perspective. And he has a sister, and he has, of course, his mother and father. So I haven't quite come up with the characters and the names yet, but I'm working on it. And that part's easy, for the most part.
Yeah, that's the easy part.
Compared to trying to figure out how to make the story work and be practical and plausible. Yeah. That's a lot harder to do. So
yeah, it's not as easy as people think.
No, not as people think. Are you saying that Winterville isn't real to the Queen? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that Winterville isn't real to the Queen. Technically, I live in Winterville because Winston is Winterville. So it's going to be based on my real town that I live in, based on what happens in my real town. And so there's going to be some historical tie-ins to the alternative timeline. So it's not going to be like it's not a real town, because it is a real town. It's a town that runs by British standards, British electrical standards. They drive on the right side, which makes it interesting, because how are you going to deal with it? Transferring people from right to left, or from left to right on the roads? I came up with a solution for that. Basically, a road that has a crossover. In other words, if you're driving as we do in the United States, and you happen to come onto this ramp, it then puts you into the other lane. Likewise,
there you go.
When you are coming onto Winterville, you automatically shift your car over to the other lane using basically ramps, so that you don't even have to consciously remember to change the fact that you're switching from the right side of the road to the left side.
That's interesting.
It's a simple solution. I got the idea originally from slot car tracks. So that you could really, of course, slot car is a little different anyway. So no, Winterville is real. And I could turn it into a real micronation easily enough after I sit down and write down the Constitution and declare my sovereignty. And it certainly beats the hell out of being a selectman, that's for sure. Because being a selectman in Winston sucks. So is talking to Ed, I think. He's in the bedroom. Anybody got any questions about Winterville as far as I can answer? Because maybe I can use some of your ideas in the story, and maybe help me kind of come over this complexities in the real world, and maybe help them with the stories. I have one. You say they're going to be 15-minute radio segments. Is that going to be based by chapters, or are you going to write this ahead of time and then rehearse it, or are you going to just do it on the fly? Because when I say I have to do it on the fly, because it'll be easier that way.
Oh, this is right. I gotta step away just for a minute.
That's your phone ringing?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Brentley says, "Hey Michelle, it's Rhonda. Me and Brent are watching you together. How are you today?" I'm doing fine. And as you can see, it's pretty quiet. And I wanted to know what you think about the the planned radio serial that's going to be starting as a video in about a week, actually about this weekend. I hopefully have the first video coming out about Winterville. Chat seems much better. Yeah, it does, and it's a little more quiet, and that's something I appreciate. It also helps that this chat is not being embedded, so unfortunately, if you are going to join the chat or the video, you have to log in to watch it instead of having this wildly just being shared by every potential social site out there. Well, thank you on both the issues with the chat and the book, the story idea. So you were saying, I was just going to say, since you're going to be doing this on the fly, does that mean that you have to worry about potentially where one week you might say one thing and then next week you kind of unintentionally change it in the next week? Well, that's the problem when you're doing these stories, like that. Yeah, you could change things without needing to. That's where, again, I'm going to try to listen to the last week's radio broadcast and make sure things are consistent. Okay, just thank you for coming in, guys. Brentley and Rhonda. That's the real Brentley and Rhonda. And how's Brent doing overall anyway? How's his health, his leg and his back? Now we wait for the question. It goes out on the satellite, and then it comes back down, and they see it. Anybody have any questions about Winterville? Because as I said, we can use this chat to help kind of give me some ideas. What would you like to see in the story? I suspect you'd like to see how does the Winston Public School System deal with the fact that the school system is going to be transitioning to a type of British school system instead of an American school system. And of course, the transitions of the town from getting used to driving on the left side of the road to the right side of the road, and of course, dealing with an electrical standard of 240 volts at 50 hertz. I might just leave it at 240 at 60 because that way with transformers. Okay, thank you. I'm glad to know he's doing better. But okay, so that was Rhonda and Brent, and they are. He's still having complications from his surgery for his hip. He's doing better, but he still hurts.
A hip thing, it takes a little while to recover from.
What's that now?
When you have something done to your hip, it takes a little while to recover from, I know.
It's in months for them.
Yeah.
And he still hurts.
And then it's never going to fully be okay.
Well, right now, my own body hurts. Yeah.
I had a little piece of a bone taken out of my hip and put on my shoulder 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, 3 years ago. And it still bothers me. So, yeah, it'll probably never be the same.
Well, let me just go ahead and refresh the phone number here for you. Call in number is
860-738.
I spell it wrong. 860-738-8463
is the number to call.
Right.
Ask any questions.
I don't make typos. I remember one time Michelle accidentally gave the number to the community college.
Yeah, they're not going to answer your questions.
No, they probably won't.
No.
They might be asking you, why did you call us? Wrong number.
Are you interested in the GED class?
Yeah, they do have GED classes there, incidentally. The community. Go right now. Go ahead, call you on the air.
Hey, Susie.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Is Susie there?
I am.
How you doing?
Hey, Susie.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Last night, ooh.
Oh, wait, what's your question?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say, hey, Susie.
Where are you calling from?
from Winstead?
Do I know you?
You tell me, wink, wink.
I can tell you're comical.
Yeah. By the way, I think you sound almost like you're the same one who claims to be me. Oh, God. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Anyway,
So you have no question?
see, what do you think about the idea of the story about where Winstead, I guess he hung up, but it's okay. I think that's a great question from my audience is, what do you think about the idea where the town of Winstead goes from being having a select person to Probably him again. Probably hung up. Go ahead, caller on here.
Michelle.
Yep.
It's Rhonda.
Yeah, how you doing?
That was not my husband.
Excuse me?
That was not my husband.
Yeah, I know. I saw your messages on the chat.
Okay, it was not my husband. Whoever's doing a spoof of my husband, he is not writing in your chat.
Hello, Rhonda.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you?
Why do these ads have to do this?
She's actually sitting right here in the studio with me, Rhonda.
That's awesome. But why do they have to do this, Michelle?
Because they have nothing else better to do.
It is really sad.
That's what they get their kicks from.
Right.
Just like that last caller with Stu. That was totally inappropriate and unacceptable behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what, Rhonda? I don't feed into that. I don't get upset over it. I don't, I don't let it get to me.
Sometimes it's not worth getting upset.
No.
Simple
Right,
things.
right. But
It's
I just
not
wanted to
worth-
call in
it's
and
not
let you
worth
know
my
that
energy.
was not my husband writing in the chat.
Yeah.
It's not worth my energy.
So how does your husband feel about the chat overall?
He doesn't know. He's not watching it.
Oh, he's not watching it.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, the chat is...
I just had it on mute and I was watching the scroll and I saw that and I'm like, those bastards.
Oh, okay.
Well,
But I'll let you get back to your show.
You can't just have just normal.
Why don't
people just
you
call
and the
in.
real Brittley watch the show and see you think about it? Because I think today
I will.
I think today is going to be pretty quiet. I don't think it's going to be super noisy, which is great because I didn't eat dinner yet. So, if I can get the show to end, say about 8 o'clock, that'd be wonderful. But I mean, I think it might end up today and at least it'd be another positive show.
Yeah.
And in addition to that is I still got some people that still dislike my videos, but I noticed that the numbers are dropping, which is good. Maybe they realize that with the story, with the Winterville story coming up, I think some of them are really kind of interested to see what happens. I am
Yeah,
too.
no, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's really hard to make an alternative timeline based on a real timeline because it's not like you can go ahead and just totally come out with something out of scratch. You got to base it on facts.
Right.
Because it was totally based on nothing but reality. I mean, why would Winstead leave Connecticut in 1993? Very simple, because Winstead really did not like Lowell Weiker's income tax idea too much. And neither did most of Litchfield County, for that matter. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just
Taxes are tough.
Okay. And then, of course, the Centrola family, which is this town controller, embezzled pretty much all of Winstead's pocket change.
Key now, because she's looking to hang up, and you're because you want to leave your line open for callers.
All right. So.
Okay, I'll chat with you soon, hon.
All right, I'll talk to you private hangout sometime soon.
Okay.
Maybe if you're free tonight, we'll talk privately.
Okay, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Good night, Sue.
Yeah. Have a good night, Rhonda.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
And, of course, the phone number is 860-738-8463. Call now while the rates are low. And, because after all, it is after 7 p.m., so yes, the rates are low today.
Oh, there we go.
Go ahead, call you on the air.
Yeah, I just want to say, fuck that stupid beach, Rhonda.
Excuse me?
I wanted to say, fuck that stupid beach, Rhonda.
Why would you want to say that?
Why would you want to say
Because she's a racist.
No, she's not.
She's a Nazi and a racist.
No, she's not. Where did you guys ever
She
come
is a
up?
racist.
No, I'm asking a question. Where did you guys ever come up with that idea?
From her being a racist, everybody knows it.
Okay, so now that you've made your point, do you have any other questions?
Do you have a question about maybe?
I just want to say, fuck Rondi, yo.
Okay, well, you have a good night.
I want y'all to tell Rondi how I feel. Fuck Rondi. And fuck that dude. Fuck that dude suit, too.
Anyway, what do you think about the Winterville radio serial project?
What the fuck you talking about?
We're talking about creating a radio story, a Winterville radio story of a.
You know what I think of that? It should be about how Ronda's a fucking racist.
You know, Ronda's not a racist.
You have a good night.
Let me just say this.
She's a racist.
Sir, she's not a racist.
Hang on,
that's all
Ronda Church is a fucking Nazi. Everybody knows it.
Do you have anything else to say at all?
Michelle, you're
all I want to say is fuck Ronda. She's a fucking Nazi.
Thank you very nicely. I hope you have a nice day. Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, let's keep this civil. Please keep this civil. Amen.
If you don't have anything nice or positive to say, then please refrain from calling.
Right. You know, we covered so many real things tonight. We could talk about what's going on with the real weather. We could talk about what's going on with the book. We could talk about what's going on with the real Winston government. We could talk about what's going on with the real Connecticut government. Yeah. We could cover all those real topics.
But the negativity.
Instead of coming up with some false allegations, which are not based on facts about a person. And that's what reason why I really would like to see this channel go in a positive direction. Because, guys, you know, I do these videos because I like doing them. But also, these chats have the highest viewership than even my videos do. I make about 55 cents at the end of one of these live streams.
People calling in like that, you don't need that.
Right, we don't need that kind of call.
Michelle, when they start talking to you like that and they start making allegations and accusations, that's when you just need to cut the line and
that's what I did. But I also wanted to give him a chance to redeem himself and actually be able to ask the question.
You gave him 3 chances, and he didn't redeem himself on any time. So
right, I said that's it.
Yep.
He's tying up the phone line for potential good calls, and you know, that's not what we need right now. So again, the phone number is 860-738-8463. Again, that's 860-738-8463. We're covering ideas for the upcoming radio serial. I was trying to come up with the name of the community. Winterville is the name of the town. This isn't necessarily going to be the name of the monarchy, because if it covers all of Litchfield County, it would have to be something better. You know what? If it's going to be Litchfield County, the one problem I have is Litchfield County is the county seat. Yes. How would Litchfield County feel becoming nothing more than just a tiny hamlet, which doesn't even get any respect? Like Deborah Jones would say, ain't no respect. Yeah. What happened in real life to Litchfield County is very simple. When the state of Connecticut got rid of the colony or the county jurisdictions, the only thing that left in Litchfield County right now is the Litchfield County Courthouse. It's no longer has any power as a county seat. And then of course when the Banton Courthouse closed and then moved to Torrington, that also had an impact on the Litchfield area as well. The Litchfield Courthouse still takes care of county issues to an extent, like evictions and things like that. But the courthouse in Torrington has pretty much replaced Litchfield County in a lot of areas. So the could almost get to the point where, in reality, is I don't think the Litchfield people are going to be very excited about losing their title as county. Couldn't they still be ruled by a count or countess? They could be. But they probably would not be happy to know that the Queendom of Snow is going to actually be ruled from Winterville, which is actually Winsted. Some people may get really angry about that in real life. Yeah. Count on it. That could be a great plot device there in the story too. Whereas the people of Litchfield are still hot and angry at at the Queen of Winterville because she took over control and basically just turned them into a hamlet. You can bet the real people literally would be pissed. Count on it. Okay. May I be one of United Ranch Warriors, my lady? Well, yeah, I can do that. Since you really seriously want to do it right now, there isn't any trolls, but sure. Okay, let's see. What's the magic? Here we go. Bing. Okay, now you got a real wrench. Okay. Use it with care. Okay, so the story is actually pretty interesting. Like I said, when you're creating alternative timeline, historical timelines, is that it's got to be based on facts, but it also has to be based plausible that someone's going to want to sit there and listen to it in the 15-minute doses. So, but it should be funny too. There should be some humor in there. Shouldn't all be all dry and, and boring as a documentary. Michelle loves documentaries. I love documentaries. Absolutely. I also love historical fiction, and I also like alternative timeline fiction too. So, very interesting. You're welcome. Thanks. And you're welcome, Esmeralda. Maybe what you could do is help me by finding more good people to join the channel. Maybe ask somebody, this applies to anybody. Ask your friends, your family, if they're interested in this kind of thing to join us. This channel is pretty much designed from the very beginning to be family friendly. And that's the way I want to keep it. So, but if anybody wants to call, you certainly can. The phone number is 860-738-8463. And Sue isn't here right now. But then again, she did say she was going to be only here for a little while. And I have no idea if she's going to be back in later on. And so, of course, we're welcome to more comments. And don't forget, let's see. Right now it is 7:09. We're still on for another hour. We're still on for another hour or so, about another 51 minutes. And so I'm willing to take your comments if you got any. If you want to call on the phone, that's fine too. The number is 860-738-8463. And do you want to cover anything? Yeah, let's talk about, you said earlier about the climate change. The cold snap really had a strong impact of over 90% of the United States and Canada. And it really, really demonstrates how delicate our infrastructure is and could break down at any time. Yeah, the ISO New England, which is the Independent Service Operators of New England, have said that during the peak of the cold snap, their available electricity was extremely limited because they couldn't get enough generating for plants online. Thanks to the Obama baloney years ago about anti-coal. And so they have these natural gas turbines, but the problem is that the natural gas turbines could not produce enough pressure. After all, you can't compress a vacuum. If you can't get enough natural gas into the pipeline, it doesn't matter how hard your compressor is trying to compress what you got. You can't suck a vacuum. In other words, if there's no fuel in the tanks at the liquefaction plant or whatever, or the high pressure gas transmission line, it's not going to do any good. So there was a really significant issue of fuel for both generating plants and for home heating, and also the fact that the delivery of heating oil, more demand for heating oil than there was heating oil available by most distributors. So that drove up the price of heating oil, not because someone was trying to price gouge, but because it was costing them more. And that makes a real impact. When you can't get heating oil to heat your home, people are going to try they can keep warm. We're very lucky we haven't had too many house fires. Who's that by the window? Oh, somebody looking out the window. I think is that you, Sal, or is that Ed? It's me. Oh, it's Ed. Okay. Oh, anyway, so one of the concerns is that one of the things that ISO New England realized is that they need to get more energy resources available. But since over 90% of the country was in a deep freeze, there was just not enough extra transmission capacity for generating electricity available anywhere else. So that has a strong negative impact on your community. If you can't get electricity generated, it's not going to make things any better. No, and of course, it's also going to affect the crops too. Yes, it is. Go ahead, call you on the air.
Hey, Michelle, it's Harry. How are you doing?
It's who?
It's Harry Birkin.
Oh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I just heard you mention that Ed was there. Could I speak with him?
Could you repeat that, please?
I just heard you mention that Ed was there. Could I speak with him?
He's in the other room, but
Could you see if he could come to the phone? I got a little bit of a bone to pick with Ed.
I don't really think it would be a good idea to start picking bones with anybody right now.
Right, but you know, he did some pretty nasty stuff, and I'd just like to ask him about it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me transfer your call to his phone, and that way you can talk to him privately.
Okay, that sounds good.
Hold on, please. Okay. We got yeah, hold on. I got to do this straight. Wait, I get confused with all this phone stuff. All right, so let me pick up on the other phone, and then I'll transfer that way. Okay? Hold on, please. Okay. You got it? Yep. Okay, you there? Okay, hold on a minute. Let me transfer this phone. Here it is. Transfer. Phone call, bedroom.
So I told you I didn't want to be on.
Just answer the damn phone. And you're offline right now, so just go ahead and just answer it.
I'm going to hang up. I want to talk to no one.
Just say hi to her. It's a nice woman. Hold on, let me try again, okay? He just got to that phone. One moment. Oops, hold on a minute. Okay, she hung up on him. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to just say very nicely is I don't want to really see anybody get angry about each other right now. I really would rather see this conversation remain peaceful today. So if you do want to talk to Ed, you can call on, I will just try to transfer the call to his, but then you won't be on his live chat. But that's because I don't really, I don't want to really see this turn into a hate fest. It just doesn't really interest me to see that happen again. So anybody who wants to call back, you can, of course. But as I said, if you want to talk to Ed personally, I can transfer the call. But you won't be able to talk with him on the radio, but you'll just be able to talk to him on the phone one-on-one. But you'd have to keep the conversation short because otherwise no one else can call while you're on the phone. So, okay. So what were we saying now? I was talking about the crops and what's going on with the people who are going to be freezing this year. You know, the thing is that I think that as far as our crops go, is that even though we have greenhouses, we don't have enough greenhouses to grow all the food that we're going to need during the new global ice age coming. As it 2030 has addressed, as has Ice Age Farmer and a few other people. This is a really serious issue, and it's not going to go away just because somebody says, "Oh, it's not real." Yes, Ice Age is real, and it is really going to affect people in a way that's really, really not that good. And I just think it's something we need to be aware of. Is that if there's a shortage of fuel, it's going to affect a lot of people. Go ahead, call you on the air.
Hey, Michelle, it's Harry again. Ed didn't pick up.
Excuse me?
Ed didn't pick up the phone.
All right, hold on a minute. Let me switch you to the other phone so I can transfer your call. Hold on, please.
Thanks, sweetie.
All right, 1 minute. Okay, you there?
I sure am.
Okay. Let me get you off the show, and I'll get you transferred over. Okay, 1 moment. Okay, let's transfer this call over. Let's get the spot right. Ed, will you stop doing that? She wanted to talk to you privately.
I don't want to talk to anybody at your show. I don't want to be involved with it. I don't want to make any trouble.
I know you're not.
I'm just telling you that's the way it is, okay? I'm not involved with it tonight.
Well, I understand. Come over here for a second. Just come over here for a second so they can hear you. All right? Now, guys, I tried to connect you. He doesn't want to talk to anybody, okay? I'd be honest with you. If you want, you can always leave him a comment in the comment section, or you can always contact him on Facebook, too. He's on Facebook. Let me take the phone call back again. Let me get my headphones back on here. I put the damn things up there. Oh, okay. Go ahead, call. You're on the air.
Hey, Michelle, it's me again. There's some sort of technical problem. It just keeps on hanging up on me when you transfer it.
Yeah, I know that. That's because he said he doesn't want to talk to anybody. That's the problem.
Oh, he doesn't want to talk to me?
He doesn't want to talk to anybody, he said. Anybody. Regardless of who. So I was just trying to say is if you want to really get his attention, it might be easier just to contact him on Facebook.
Okay, what's his last name? Let me write it down because I'm really looking to speak with Ed.
His last name is Michno.
Michno. Okay, let me write that down. His first name, is that Ed or Edward?
Edward,
Michno. Okay.
Yep. And
so I live in Torrington. Does he live in Torrington or Winstead?
What's that?
I said I live in Torrington. Does he live in Torrington or Winstead?
Well, right now
is he at the fish house?
Right now he lives in Torrington officially.
Yeah, but does he live at the fish house?
Excuse me?
The fish house.
His phone?
It's the homeless shelter in Torrington.
He lives in Torrington on Main Street. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, he doesn't. Well, do you know if he stays at the homeless shelter there, the fish house?
No, not right now. He has a place in Torrington.
Okay, because I was going to drop by there, but I didn't want to be embarrassed if he wasn't there.
But he does go to the Torrington Soup Kitchen on occasion.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But like I said, as far as any personal issues that, like you want to discuss, I really think it should be kind of kept personally private because I don't really want to have people getting angry at me again. Me and Lumi have tried so hard to try to make things better. And but I do got a question though. As you may remember from the last few weeks, there was a lot of allegations saying I was a racist and all this.
I never said you were a racist.
You never said.
I was a little bit upset that you have Ed continually on your show after what he did.
No, you didn't, but the other people were, and that caused a lot of people to feel really. It made me feel really uncomfortable, and but. Because do
you remember that day when you kind of you guys were blocking everybody? Pretty much everybody got blocked except for a few people. That's probably where they get it from. But if you statistically look at it, I'm sure more white people got blocked.
Well, because one of the most important things, like I said, is I'm not a racist. And I really kind of wish people got to know the truth. Is that really, I deep down, I love everybody. And sometimes, so in my hearing, I do get things wrong, and that sometimes makes things worse. And we're talking originally about the story of Winterville, which I think is still an interesting thing. So you can get a chance to see a little bit about me, the real me, in the story. Even though it's going to be a radio serial, it's going to be about 15-minute segments. It's going to give you a chance to get to know me as the person, because I think a lot of people don't really know me. Have I ever met you in person?
No, I've never met you in person. I have seen you like a handful of times in public, just like in passing, but no, we've never met.
Yeah, well, I'm almost always at the soup kitchen in Winsted almost every day.
Well, I live in Torrington, so I don't really have a reason to go to Winsted.
Right.
And I wouldn't normally go to the soup kitchen if it wasn't to confront Ed.
I used to go to the soup kitchen in Torrington when I lived in Torrington on Litchfield Street, but I moved out of Torrington because I couldn't deal with an hour of sirens every day, because I was right on the way to the hospital. So I used to get inundated with the sirens, and that really was really destructive to my hearing. Hold on a minute. What's that, Ed?
Put me on that line. I'll be civil with this guy, but I'm not.
It's a lady, Ed. Okay, come on over and have a seat.
I'm not looking for an argument.
Okay, can you hear it? Sandy, can you hear him? Okay. Oh, we'll see. Okay. All right. He wants to talk to you after all. So what I'll do is let me transfer this call over to his phone. Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, hold on a minute, please. Okay, I gotta switch over to the other handset here. So I didn't hang up on you. Just stay there, okay? Are you still there? Okay, one moment. Let's see if we can get this right. Go ahead and answer the damn phone. Ed, I just transferred the call to the other room. He's right here. Hold on, please. Ed, it's for you.
He's in the bedroom.
Okay. I'm going to transfer the call back. She hung up on me. Okay. Okay, where was I? No, I do not. I do not. See, this is what Michelle's talking about. This is the reason why we don't want to go there, okay? Because that is absolutely no, I do not. I'd like to know where you guys came up with that, because I don't even understand any of the reasons why people would come up with these allegations.
It was 5 something, but I was going to get.
So come over here for a second.
Hold on. I was going to get.
Let's see. We got 5 viewers right now. We got 5 viewers. That's cool. That's good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, Sandy. Okay, I sent you an email. Okay, I have to take a look at that. So we gotta get to that screen. Let's see.
I got quarters next door. I'll go over and I'll get you some.
Right now, Sue's talking to Ed, and where's my mouse?
I was busy at the moment. What's up?
Oh, nothing. It's just I see that there's a couple people in here that are just starting to try to create headaches. And one person sent me an email. I got to go to the email folder so I can look at this.
Can anybody hear me out there right now?
Yes, they can hear right now.
I don't deal with stupidity. Let them know right now.
All right, hold on a minute. Let me answer the caller. Go ahead, caller, on the air.
Hello?
Yeah, how you doing today?
Baby, I know I miss you. I wanna give it to you. But I can't wait to give me through the fall. Give me through the fall.
See, those are the retards.
Yeah, I know. Please don't call them that, because that really triggers them every time. So unfortunately, Ed Sandy hung up, so I couldn't transfer the call. So Scramage, you can all sit here. We should be able to hear everybody, I think. Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I'll turn the gain up on the microphone so that you can hear them better. And that way. All right. So where was I? Somebody said they sent me an email, so I was going to go to my email folder. And go ahead, call you on the air.
Yeah, I'm looking to talk about trains with Ed.
I don't know if it's coming out here.
Ed is he available or unavailable?
And now he's in the
Does
kitchen.
Ed want to talk about trains?
All right, hold on a minute.
No, Ed's not available right now.
He's not available right now.
I want to come all over his fucking train.
That's enough.
Yeah,
That's
a wrap.
that one's getting a little bit too much, guys. Come on, let's keep this civil. I gotta admit that one of the things is that when we were talking about earlier, this is kind of boring to most people. Yeah, but it's not my fault. No, the biggest problem with thinkers is that
They're assholes. Nobody can just call in with just a regular question, and talk normally like a fucking human being. I'm sorry, but that seems to be all the calls that you're getting, and it's ridiculous. Why are people treating you like this?
The last few are like that. But I think that there's not all of them are like that. Thank God. Yeah.
No, the majority are, and it's sad that grown ass people can't act grown.
See, now this is what I'm talking about here. So, can you read that from here?
No, I can't.
Daddy says originally he said that, and then they said that, and I'm not even going to say it on the air because unfortunately.
Daddy, you say you think niggers are smelly and stupid. Consider some stupid, but then again, I don't consider anybody a nigger neither.
Yeah, but there's a lot of white people.
African American, but there's assholes that make them niggers.
There's a lot of people, regardless of race, are smelly and stupid. Honestly, but a lot of them have various reasons for being that way. Well, Michelle and I know that. Okay, here we go. Get your Teflon asbestos underwear on. Hello, caller in the air.
Give me the phone. Give me the phone. Give me the.
Okay. So I mean, here the point is that what this one person is saying is it's really just disrespectful. I just didn't understand why they would see this on this channel.
So, all right. Well,
I am not going. Let me make this clear, guys. Okay. Go ahead, tell you on the air.
I like the way Susie says nigger. Oh, fuck you.
There we go. Yeah. Now you're learning, Michelle. Shut the shit off. You don't need to hear stupid shit like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now.
All right, this is the last call for a while. Go ahead, call you on the air. Nice telling you. Don't worry. I turned the phone off for a little bit, guys, so we can think.
Right. So why?
And let's just talk about what we're seeing.
You said earlier Ed wasn't available. Why are people calling in and asking for Ed?
The thing is now that what happens is all the bad people are starting to wake up from their naps. It seems like, and this guy here is doing things. I don't like this, guys.
No, all that shit. Ignore it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, why is this guy calling and saying he wants to talk to Ed about trains? And I thought Ed didn't want nothing to do with all of this stuff.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I really hate to see come up because it really makes me angry.
Do they know that he's like here? Is he? Do they know that he can hear everything? Or
yeah, it's just I'm not even going to repeat the person's question. Because number one is, I really don't like this kind of stuff. Okay, it really, really makes me angry. Because as far as I guess it's Bellerin that kind of agrees with me on that. when they
All right, now, wait a
say
minute. When I went to the store,
those low life trolls. Yes, they are. They're doing it because they're waking up from their naps or getting home from their dinners.
Michelle, when I went to the store, I was listening to the show, and you didn't tell anybody like Ed's business, did you?
What's that?
Did you say anything about Ed
on the show?
Yeah.
No, not today.
In the last like 10, 15 minutes when I went to the store, because I was actually listening to it, and I thought you were telling whoever called.
Oh, I said to people is that if they personally have something that they want to talk to Ed about, that they should contact Ed directly and not, get me in the middle of this because it's...
Yeah, but if he doesn't want to be involved, how would they get a hold of him?
Well, they can get hold of him through Facebook if they want to. He's on Facebook. There's no reason why.
Do they know his name or how do they?
Well, that's what Sandy asked me. So I gave her his last name, so at least that she can look him up on Facebook. Then it won't be.
Wait, I can't hear two people at once. What, Ed?
They can search you anyway, Ed. Well, at least if they get nasty, you can always. All right, one thing at a time. If they're on Facebook, if they say something nasty to you, all you have to do is ignore them. Because I don't really, like this person says, they have nothing better to do, and they're absolutely right.
True.
Sandy says that she lives in Torrington. She's a real person. And she just wanted to have a chance to talk to you about what was some of the things that was said in the last show. So don't get angry at people that if they want to have a civil conversation with you, since you didn't want to answer the phone. And what's funny, he says still trying to call. Yeah. Then they're leaving. What are they using? A voicemail? Answering. Let's see. Yeah, the answering machine.
Go ahead, put the calls on.
Yeah, it's leaving he's leaving a message.
Put the call on.
That's the caller that's calling because I didn't answer. I have it. It goes to an answer machine. So, which is convenient. If I'm busy or something, I can always come back and talk. So when my answer machine gets tired and thinks about them. The thing is I'd like to one day do, and I think you would be interested in this. Would you ever like to have a meetup and meet some of these people in person sometime? Maybe a McDonald's or something.
The calls that you've gotten, no. Absolutely
I'm talking about the good ones. I'm talking about the ones.
I'll let you know when I hear one.
Well, what about this one here? This isn't a bad person talking. There's been a few positive contacts here.
Well, them I can't read, so I don't know what you're looking at because you can see better than I can.
That's Ernie. She says
you're legally blinded. You can see better.
We're talking about from Esmeralda Rivera. Says I agree, La Bellerin, which thinks that the trolls have nothing better to do and that the trolls are getting out of control. These two people may be people I'd like to meet. Maybe Sandy Hopkins I'd like to meet.
Those are people that sound real. They sound genuine.
Yeah. And they truly would like to have a positive conversation.
But then you got the assholes that call in. Now, I would use other words, inconsiderate people or immature, disrespectful. But they're assholes because they have nothing else better to do than to call in and either make fun or, make snotty remarks, make disrespectful remarks. That's not what the show is about.
I mean, the most important thing that this channel tries to do is that people don't realize that this is a channel that's
it's not a comedy channel.
It's not a comedy channel. It is not a shock channel. This is not the Howard Stern show.
Maybe you should let them
We're not into that kind of stuff.
No, from now on, Michelle, when you start your shows, let them know you can Google comedy channels, and this isn't going to pop up.
Well, what this channel is this is an educational and informational channel, and this channel is family oriented.
Right.
And that someone say that makes the family boring. Well, okay, some people actually probably enjoy the knowledge and the learning aspect of it.
And they don't want to they don't want to hear all this.
And we know, and I
nonsense.
know, and let me know that there are people who really truly are genuinely interested in our topics.
All right, somebody's calling. You can turn the phone back on.
Out on the wire says, "Hi, Michelle. I don't think you should be giving his personal information on your show. It's up to him if he like." Okay, agreed. But then again, he's been ignoring a phone call that she's been wanting to talk to him on phone, and she hasn't been able to. So I've been transferring the phone calls.
She should ask for his personal information and get the okay from him if it's okay.
Well, the thing was is he didn't even want to even bother answering the phone, even if it was off.
And he has that prerogative.
Well, he has the right, but don't you think it's a little rude? Don't you think he should have at least picked up the phone and said nicely to her, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't really want to discuss that."
But if he's not in the mood for whatever reason, maybe there's something going on with him right now. He doesn't just want to be involved with anybody and talk to anybody at the moment.
Right. Well, I mean,
I have them moments all the time right now. You're lucky I'm even here.
Yeah, but at least, because
no, that's the problem. There's no at least.
That's the reason
that prerogative.
That's the reason I was gonna transfer it off the phone system, was because instead of being in the chat, because I don't know what Sandy. I had no idea what Sandy wanted to say to Ed, and I didn't want to have to go on over the universe.
If somebody wants to get a hold of him through Facebook, they ask you, "Can you ask Ed if I can get his Facebook name, whatever?" And then you ask him, and if he says okay, then you give it to them.
Right.
But you don't give out his info without his permission.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, is that since I'm transferring the call and I'm putting out the extra mile to send the call to that room, there's no reason why he shouldn't be willing to at least say hello to the person if the person was decent and kind and willing to talk to him.
Because maybe he's just in a bad mood and he doesn't feel like he can just be nice right now.
Well, okay, I understand that, but in that case, he could just
everybody has that prerogative.
He could just say nicely to the lady, "I'm sorry, right now I don't feel like talking."
You should have said, "I'm sorry, but I can't give out that information. I'm not obligated to.
Right. Well,
I'm not at liberty to. You can check back maybe Sunday night."
Right. Well, I don't think he's going to be here Sunday night.
Well, I mean, but you're still going to be in contact with him. You could ask him, "Is it okay if I give out your info?"
Actually, he has it. He has his own YouTube channel. Boy, that guy left a long message, that's for sure. Wow.
So did you turn the phones back on?
I'll have to listen to that message afterwards because I'm not going to listen to it right now because I got a feeling it is not very complimentary.
I'm sure of it. So did you turn the phones back on?
So anyway, guys, so anything from the past few shows that were negative, let's forget about those. I want to focus on the good shows. I want to focus on the future. I want to focus on where we're going to go for 2018.
You haven't answered my
question. After all, that was the only reason I decided to resume doing these, besides that these shows have the higher popularity ratings. And I'm not saying she's not. I just said is that I think that I'm also right when I say is that it would be nice if Ed at least said nicely to the call, picked up the phone and says, "I'm sorry, but man, right now I don't feel like talking about what happened in the past." I think that could have been easily done. He's sitting at the computer. The phone is right next to him. There's no reason why he couldn't have done that. No, there isn't. All right, so out on the wire, is there anything about what we were talking about tonight besides this issue, such as the climate, the weather, the what's going on with the great freeze of 2018 and how it affected the availability of fuel and electricity and natural gas, and how it affected people's lives in a negative way, such as a lot of people are really freezing to death, literally in parts of 90% of the United States and Asia, and even in parts of Europe. It was a major, major cold snap. By the way, this next week is going to be cold again. Not as insufferably bad, but it is going to be colder anyway. So, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to see more cold snaps before March? Yeah, I think we could. I think you're going to see some more, maybe not necessarily too much snow, But several weather models did say that New England would be much colder than it was. Some said it was supposedly going to be pretty close to normal, and it was that alone kind of changed the average. Because for a while, most of New England temperatures were pretty much reasonable. So, you know. Yeah, well, I think that the thing is, as far as the weather goes, is that people should start preparing for the fact is that the day is going to come when the temperatures are just going to keep getting colder and colder and colder. They should have alternative fuel. They should have wood. They should have coal. They should have extra propane, natural gas on hand, because as well as extra food and heavy blankets and stuff like that to keep warm would be a great idea. Let's take this next call, guys. Go ahead, call you on the air.
Oh, can I talk to Ed about his trains?
Ed right now is not talking to anybody tonight.
Oh,
okay, that's enough of that. That's enough of that, guys. Come on, let's keep it serious. Yeah, I think extra food, fuel on hand would be a good idea. What do you think, Sue? In case we have another one of those.
Because I walked away from that. I heard that in the other room, and I don't deal with stupid.
Okay, well, we're talking right now. We're talking about environmental issues, like how much people should prepare for the colder weather coming up ahead. Where the fact is that the climate is changing, getting colder.
If you live in New England, you're used to it.
Well, we weren't used to it. I saw New England was ill prepared to handle the demand for electricity.
If you lose electricity, it's because of the storm. Nothing you can do about it.
No. There's a shortage of electricity because they can't generate enough power for all the people turning the heat on.
Well, that's got to do with Mother Nature. There's really not much you can do about it.
Except to have extra fuel on hand.
You might want to
like have a wood stove or a coal stove. Maybe even have some of your own propane on hand if you're going to heat with gas.
Generators, anything that would help with heat. I'm sure that the electric company would appreciate.
Actually, Esmeralda.
Hey, you asked me a question. Okay. A lot of people don't do that because they depend on the electric company. Well, the electric company can't always provide when it comes to Mother Nature.
Right.
So you have to be prepared.
Okay, well, I'm going to answer what Esmeralda said here. She said here, she says here is, climate change is natural. Global warming was invented by the liberal left to obtain more government control. Yeah, but climate change doesn't include real global warming. The Earth has cycles, and global warming.
Bodies have cycles. Your human body has cycles.
Right, and the Earth is a large system. Right, but you're right. What was created by Al Gore and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change was a political way to wrest control over people's lives. And Barack Obama fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Whereas many scientists, independent scientists, have said, no, you know what? What the IPCC is doing is baloney. In fact, people will die if they take their guidelines and saying that everything is getting warming and gives up proper insulation of the house, proper clothes, proper everything. People are going to freeze to death. And then after that, they're going to take all those dead bodies and stack them up like cordwood. But what are they going to do with the bodies? Are we going to turn them into soy green and eat them? You never know. If you got enough, if you listen to the George Greatstones, it says it maintained a world population of less than 950 million people. That means that just using the number on top of my head, about 9 billion people, I think, right now. What's going to happen to the other 8.9 billion people? Somebody is going to have to figure out what to do with all the dead bodies. And one of the ways that's going to make the problem worse. And the problem is that the government, the reason why they're still pushing the climate agenda is there's the tax money. There's money to be made in it as well. Well, you're welcome. She says to me is, I never thought of that, Michelle. That was quite informing. Thanks. You're welcome. And that's one of the things that if you look at the channels I subscribe to, that material is on those channels. ICH Farmer, Adapt 2030, Rolf Witche, he's an Australian or possibly German native. His videos tend to get a little long, but I do listen to them a little bit. Okay. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. All he had to do is pick up the phone, and he could have simply said to the caller very nicely, I don't want to talk right now. But we've had a few phone calls tonight that were definitely nobody wants to talk to. Because as Michele will tell you, is one of the things is that we're trying to do is keep this channel, these live streams, in a positive note. But what I'm going to say to everybody who's watching these that is cooperating with us is thank you very much. We understand that these get boring, and we're going to try to get other people on the show, like Sue here, which is trying to have a positive conversation. But Michele can't always do that. So sometimes Michele has to just make do with by doing it by herself or with me. Okay. Right. So anyway, but as far as climate change, one of the things I think that we should do is make sure to consider the fact is that, yes, it gets cold in New England. But even for me, the last few days were last week were so cold that even I didn't want to go outside. And I'd walk outside in a T-shirt at temperatures down to -10. But the winds were so cold and so icy that I just didn't want to go outside because the winds take away your little buffer zone, if you will, which is this warm air that's created by your skin. And so it acts as a little insulation layer. But once the winds come, it actually strips that away, and that can result in leading to hypothermia. And that's something that's very serious. It goes to heat stroke. Oh, no, it goes to cold stroke. Let's call it cold stroke because it's hypothermia is certainly serious. It can result in frostbite. Severe frostbite can cause loss of limbs. And one of the most important things is that you need to have warm clothes. You got to be able to keep warm. And if you can't physically make it out onto the street because it's too much snow, or if it's just too far away, you don't have a car, you need to consider having extra food on hand and extra water because what if the water pipes freeze? That's happened already in Winston. The water main in Winston broke up on Park Place because it was too cold. And so all of downtown for a few hours lost water temperature, or drinking water, because the pipes were frozen. They couldn't flush the toilets. But imagine if that situation got bad enough that it was something that could potentially result in people being without drinking water for days. Let's remember the rules of threes. You can leave 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. That's assuming you're a skinny person. If you're like me, you're a little bit bigger, you probably could go for 30 days without food. But if that's the case, the water is going to be important for so many things besides just drinking. We use water for washing our dishes, flushing our toilets. We use it for watering our plants, which any outdoor plants would likely be dead because of the frost and the deep cold. So one of the things is you need to consider is, because this is for next year, they say it's going to get worse, is you should have extra food on hand at all times, extra fuel on hand for your heaters and a generator. If you're going to have a generator, please follow the instructions and use its manual to make sure to install it and use it properly to prevent anybody overcoming from carbon monoxide. Do not use a generator indoors. If it's a permanent generator, please have it installed by a licensed electrician to make sure that it does not backfeed power into the power lines. It could potentially kill a lineman, which would be really sad to see anybody get killed because of somebody plugged the generator into the dryer outlet without turning off the main breaker, and it basically feeding their generator into the U.S. mains, and all of a sudden, the poor utility company crew did not know that that line still has power, could get electrocuted because that 240 volt output generator is being increased in because there's a transformer on the pole up to 25,000 volts. That's a really scary thought. Absolutely. And of course, you know, you need to be careful with any kind of fuel sources such as kerosene and stuff too. Yeah. Okay. I was looking at some of the other comments here. She says the musicians are supposed to have to disgrace. Okay. I'm surprised that you have. Well, you know, I have moderators that try to cover, you know, all types of people. Some people may not agree with, you know, with one person's view. So if moderator A and moderator B don't agree, if a person that they're talking to is really a bad person, because sometimes I need all the help I get, especially when you got. For a while, I was getting flooded with some really nasty trolls, and now we got rid of them, and we're having better conversations. And so a lot of them, these people are just kind of like right now, just sitting around watching and participating in the conversation. But they're just extra people that can come to bat if they need them. If things are quiet, oh, there's the phone. Let's get the phone call. Okay, let's take the phone call. Go ahead, call. You're on the air. This is why I don't normally answer the phone at all times. No.
Was that another retarded call?
I was a troublemaker. So
yeah, see, these are the people that you don't need to associate with.
What's that?
Those are the people that you don't need to associate with. You don't need to have on your show.
Yeah, well, why don't you come on over here and have a seat?
Let me go put this next door. I'll be right back.
Okay, so
I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
And but me and Ed had some wonderful conversations on the show. Last time we were talking about driving movie theaters and things like that. And I really kind of was hoping that Ed one day would be willing to come back on the air. But he's been busy right now with personal issues that I am not at liberty to discuss. Which is one of the reasons why he didn't really want to talk to anybody. But, and so let's see. So for next year, actually I would do this year is I'd get on, start preparing for next winter, guys, as I don't think it's going to be any easier. You're going to be seeing more cold snaps like the one we had. We're going to see many more of those coming up real soon. Some people are saying that the climate change, in this case global cooling, could result in an ice age lasting anywhere from 20 to 150 years. 150 years ice age, of course, it's going to be quite the opposite of what Al Gore says. The kids of the world will say, will not seem to really wonder what grass is. They're going to start to wonder what grass is because it's just going to be, especially in places like New England, where most of the climate will be mostly snow and frost, frozen over anyway, if things get really bad. And then we may have very short summers. Last summer was pretty warm. It wasn't too oppressively hot, but it was warm. So prepare for that. So we see more of that. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think she should. I said the same thing to her. That word is definitely not something I would use. Some would say Michele is a little more refined than some, but I don't think Michele is as refined as good enough to be the best queen in the world. I don't know. I got a feeling that if in real world, or the donuts, if Michele really was the queen of Winterville, and then when she's in private meeting with her cabinet, you might hear some language come out of Michelle's mouth that may not be so complimentary. Michele is not much of a cusser. No, I'm not much of a cusser, but I can get pretty upset. It's because my ancestry is Italian Norwegian. I got a temper. I've been working very hard to keep my temper in check. Because normally I like to be a positive person, but I do got a temper. Well, Thank you. And I agree, but even I do have problems too with my temper. It does get to be a problem. What I'd like to know is that if this weather continues to become a disturbing trend with the temperatures dropping, is how is this going to affect the mass transit and transportation of goods and services to people in areas that are going to be affected by the ice and snow? Well, as the heating oil companies already discovered, one of the problems is if the Department of Transportation doesn't get the roads plowed, they can't deliver the heating oil to the customers. If it's a fuel like natural gas being transmitted by the transmission lines, high pressure transmission lines, if there's a shortage of fuel or if there's a compressor breakdown, it's going to have a negative impact as well. Again, that's why I say people need to have extra food and fuel on hand and water. Water is important, as I said. So you got to have water. If you don't have water, you don't have not just for drinking, but also for cleaning and also for sanitation, for flushing toilets. You might want to consider using a dry toilet. I know what you're going to say is, ew, that doesn't sound too nice. Well, trust me, once your regular wet toilet gets full of poo and you can't flush it down because there's no water, and even if you try to flush it down and if the lift pumps at the sewer transfer station isn't working and everybody's trying to flush their toilets and they're going to back up into people's houses. That has happened in real life a lot of times. And because these pumps depend on electricity, and if there's no electricity, they can't run. Well, some do have some emergency generators on hand, and larger ones, smaller town pumps may not have one. So, if your lift pump fails, your sewage lines are going to back up. And sure, if you got your own septic tank, you might be a bit better off. Except, of course, once it gets freezing to the point where the ice gets below the frost line, it's going to cause the sewage in your septic tank to freeze up too. So then, again, you're not going to really have much of a use of a septic tank. This is stuff that I research because I was preparing originally for the 2012 issues, but I also got into the weather issues as well since that time. Let's talk about guns. Okay. Is arms necessary for survival? If in a worst case scenario, you got a total destruction or total failure of the political system, such as police and other emergency services, you're going to need to know how to defend yourself. But also, you may also need to know how to do first aid as well. If there's because the weather wholly incapacitates the ambulances and EMS services, you're going to need to know how to not only defend yourself, but also how to keep yourself safe, but also how to deal with medical emergencies. So obviously knowing first aid and CPR is essential. It's a skill that could save your life, ice age or not. To know how to deal with severe cuts and burns. And of course, if somebody has a heart attack or someone stops breathing, knowing how to do CPR is going to be one way that you can help keep the person a fighting chance for when the ER or when the EMS or whoever can get your person to the emergency room. And that's, again, the reason why you need to know first aid. You need to know how to use first aid. But you also need to know self-defense. And you also ideally should know how to grow food. Because if it's get cold enough that you can't grow food outside, you might want to grow food inside. So maybe you might have planters, say growing tomato plants and things like that. I'm going to call her again. Please be a good caller. Please be a good caller. Go ahead. Go ahead, call you on the air. Okay, so I think the phone calls are getting a little bit ridiculous. The ones right there right now. Yeah. All right, so it's 8 o'clock. I really kind of want to get ready to wrap this up. Does anybody have either in text mode here where you can type the questions in the chat, or perhaps maybe I might take some phone calls, but given some of the troublemakers, I really much rather. Well, thank you very much. I didn't see her comment earlier, but me being a refined person, I appreciate that. I try so hard to be a good person, but I'm not, you know. What Michele, some would say, is because Michele studies a lot of, really into the British, British environment. Michele loves, proper talk and stuff like that. Michele loves to follow, manners. She may not be the most refined, but she tries. I try. Yeah. And Michele can also do some British accent too. I can do some British accents, but it's not really that big of a deal. No. But actually, you haven't done any British accents on the air yet. No, I haven't. Oh, damn you! We should get some tea and scones and sit down together. That's more Irish than British. Okay. So, if anybody has any questions, this is your chance. We're going to do a speed round, which means state of two. So, here's the deal. If you would like to ask some questions, type them in the chat box in front of you, and I will be on the air for another 10 minutes. So let's go ahead, speed round session. Type your questions, and I will respond to your questions as fast as I can see them. And if there are questions I feel that deserve an answer, I will answer them. Okay? So the clock starts now. Anybody has any questions, please type in chat mode, and I will respond to them. Okay. So, of course, by at around 8:15, we're going to get ready to run the end of the night. So, go ahead, ask your questions, guys. Let's see what we got to say. I also want to take a look at something at the same time over here. And where is I? You're going to check the Hangouts to see how we're doing here. Yep. Okay. And right now, I have no viewers, so it looks like the speed round is pretty much going to end up being. There'll probably be people watching it now. Yeah, there are probably people watching it. You're right. There probably are. And so I want to thank Sandy Hopkins and Esmeralda Rivera. I want to thank Out on the Wire for coming out here and let's see, what's the person's name? La Bellin, something Bellin, from being on the show too. I want to thank you guys for being here. And you guys, I hope you enjoyed yourself as well. Let's see, where is I? You want to look up their names? Yes, I was going to look up their names real quick. Yeah, La Bellerin, and I guess I'm sorry that Oh Yes Daddy basically kind of got my. You're not banned. You're just basically we're just blocked from talking on the channel right now. I want to thank Joshua Zorro, and I want to thank Stanley Hopewell, Esmeralda Rivera, Joshua Zorro, and of course Joey Rivera, and of course Ron the Church in the Brent Lee. Thank you for being here too. I want to thank you guys for joining us this fine evening. And we've got one viewer watching right now. That's all it says. So anyway, we got a few minutes left. You got 10 minutes to get your questions in, guys. Type your questions. It's no phone calls right now. It's just type your questions in the chat box below, and I will answer them as fast as I can. This is a speed round, so we got another about 9 minutes and 30 seconds left. Okay. So what we're doing here, let's talk real quick about the weather. We're waiting for messages. It's going to be getting cooler again. It's going to cool down again, but it's not going to be insufferably bad. It's going to stay about -4 degrees Celsius. And it's going to be pretty nice overall. Might snow in a couple days, but nothing. I don't think anything significant at this point. But one of the things is I think some of you guys have probably realized is that the weather can be very fickle, and because it's fickle, because it can be that way, you guys need to make sure to prepare for yourself and your family ahead of time. Extra, as I said, extra food, fuel, and water on hand. Of course, make sure you get some extra blankets. If your home for some reason is poorly insulated because it's old, this might be a time coming up to start considering getting some insulation and maybe upgrading your doors and windows if you can to be more energy efficient, so that you don't have to add to the problem of the being one of the poor people who doesn't have access to enough heating oil or natural gas for your heat. If you are in an area where you can have a wood stove, this would be an option for you as well. If you don't, but if you were in an area where the Planning and Zoning Commission says that you can have kerosene heaters, and you cannot get that, those are illegal in multifamily dwelling units unless they are vented to the outside. That means that they cannot be freestanding kerosene heaters like the Kerosons or the many of the other brands out there. They have to be connected to a flue. But if you have access to the resources to make it possible to have extra heat, and if you do want to go into permanent generators for the future, please make sure it's installed by a licensed contractor to make sure that there's no risk of danger to your family or to potentially to the lineman who's trying to fix the power lines on the pole during a power outage. And your generator is running because it can backfeed into the power line and kill the lineman, which would not be acceptable to anybody. I don't want to see him when he get hurt. And the Winterville story I'll be working on it some more. I've like I said, the character, naming the characters, creating the characters is easy, but when you start dealing with trying to create the people or the environment over the story set in, since it's an alternative timeline piece of fiction, it's going to be much more difficult to do because I have to be very careful to not get to the point where it's unplausible. People want a story that they can enjoy, but they want a story that's based on some reality. Any good science fiction writer knows that. They don't just create stories just because fantasy. Science fiction is not fantasy. Okay, there's a difference. In this case, it's definitely be based on facts that makes Winterville a real thing. Okay, so it is 8:08. There is still 7 minutes left, and I see no questions coming up. And so for now, I think I want to thank you guys for watching. We still got a few minutes left, but don't be afraid to share these videos with your friends and family. It is true that this video here is not allowing an embedding at this point, but let me be honest when I say this. It does not mean that I do not want you to share the videos with your friends and family. I do. But I do also ask that you respectfully understand that I want to maintain a nice environment where people can enjoy themselves and have a good, reactive, productive conversation. Right. And so no questions. No questions. 6 minutes left and we have no questions. So, okay, so now this, should people look more information on the different things you mentioned tonight? For the climate change, I suggest, Ice Age Farmer, Adapt 2030, Suspicious Observers. I also recommend you contact Rolf Witsche. He's also very much into what's going on. Svensmark has done many research articles on this as well. And if you want to find out more about micronations, there are many resources available on creating one. Even on the internet, there's lots of information. There are actually books you can buy and to read about how to set up a good, successful micronation. And as I said, Libertania is has the ability to easily become a real country if they can successfully get the United Nations to recognize them, because it's between Serbia and Croatia, and be really interesting to see. There's another one as well. It's a tiny piece of land in between Egypt and Africa, and that was a huge plank of piece of land that no one seemed to recognize. And this man from Virginia was able to successfully acquire the land and is building his own micronation there. He's already working with the actual Egyptian and African governments, so he's actually going to become a real country. He's one of the lucky ones because there's not too many pieces of land that are unoccupied, that are not claimed. So, very interesting to see. So if you want to find out more, obviously Google has got your resources. And like I said, you can buy books on the topic on micronation creation. And if you want to find out more why I'm really interested in Britannia, which is in the Smoky Mountains of Georgia, just go to their website. It's a family-run micronation, and very, very interesting to see. The queen is an older lady. She started working on this micronation in the late mid-60s, originally working with a school friend. She has got grandchildren and children now, but her late husband passed away, which was the king, and she's been doing it pretty much on her own since that time. And she sounds like a really nice person, and I really kind of would like to invite her onto the radio show in the future. So I'm going to continue to see if I can find a way to reach out to her and see if maybe she would like to be on the show someday. If anybody would like to be a guest on the show, it's easy to do. Just send me an email to bsandboyichela3@gmail.com. Again, that's bsandboyichela3@gmail.com. To be an on-air guest or in-person guest, I just ask that you give me ahead of time. Maybe just get to, tell me what you want to discuss, and we can schedule for a show or maybe a live stream. Or if you don't want to go through the live stream because of maybe you just want to have a private conversation, but you want to tape it and then later showing it, that's fine. We can do that too. So in other words, if you don't want to deal with the live stream, but you want to talk with me, interview in private, and then later put this on as a video on YouTube, we could do that as well. It's no problem with me. Okay, so I guess for now, since it looks like everything's pretty much wound down, but don't forget, you can always leave comments in the comment sections, and as long as I'll read them. And don't be afraid to share these videos with your friends, family, loved ones, and others that you might think are my interest in. But for now, stay safe. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, Michelle, what? Don't you think you should go ahead wait, just something. Okay, it's just a nice camera. But let me just switch this camera back to me so we can see me before I hang up. Is that way you guys can see me so we don't just have to look at my screen. Otherwise, it's just green and Esmeralda. Just like I said, we are going to be doing one on Sunday as well, and I hope that Sundays we can have more positive dialogues. Like we had some good ones tonight, and I would like to see more of that positive talk, where we can get to enjoy and share information with each other. And it's up to you guys, because you guys realize that this is a lot of work, and I'm really thankful that you guys were here tonight. So for everybody, I'll see you guys on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time again. Stay safe, stay warm, and of course, to prevent hypothermia, stay dry. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.